We don't
Do you think
need
this could be a model for teaching people the idea of being explorers, of moving out away from your own safe space of a landlocked existence and becoming the human explorers that this is your first little lesson of getting away from that little landlocked existence and getting out on a boat because we want to show you something greater about going out into space. Do you think
yeah,
that's in there, or is that me just being an Imagineer?
that's Imagineering is right. That's terrific. That's exactly what it is. And thanks for putting it out there. Because, you know, some people aren't going to want to do a boat, and they're on the web page on future projects is the organic community. And it's not just organic, organic is kind of a buzzword, but self-sufficient. And if you take a look at that web page, you will see that at one time up in Northeast Arizona, we had what we called Mile High Ranch. And we had the largest windmill in the state of Arizona, 28 feet across the blades, pumping 1,000 gallons of water an hour.
Wow.
And we grew organic food and we sold it to the health food stores down in Phoenix. But you know, Arizona is not really conducive, except you're growing something down in the valley. And we're here in Chattanooga. Chattanooga is a fabulous city, by the way. And it's the home of Chris Craft. Chris Craft doesn't operate here now, but for generations, they built the finest yachts in the world. And we've got rivers and lakes, and you can build a ship in Chattanooga, get in the river, and next thing you know, you're down in Florida and you're at the Atlantic Ocean. So right now, for a long time, I thought I was going to build it in Nicaragua because Nicaragua had fantastic woods and fantastic people. But you know, I think Chattanooga is a more better. This isn't something that I'm doing. This is something that we're doing, you know, and I can't do it. We have to do it. And it has to go forward. And yeah, why not other planets? Why not return to our galactic right? You know, because there are so many civilizations out there that would welcome us. And of course, there's those that don't want us to go. So, you know, some people think this planet's the best place to get mercenaries in this universe. You know, there's so many people here that love to kill, you know, and they learn to kill, you know, they learn to kill and it becomes something that has power and, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, maybe the export business of mercenaries and sex slaves and all those other things, maybe it's such an economy, we're going to have a tough time rubbing it out.
So Robert, can we just go back to the safe space boat for a minute, the ship? Sure. In addition to just leaving your landlocked life,
yes,
it would be an education in consciousness, right? In consciously working with your consciousness. And that's a lot of what's going on right now. The thought is that if we can raise our consciousness to the vibration of love, that we will go from the 3D to the 5D, or to create a new earth, if you will, which could just be another timeline or dimension. But I envision that would have to be like the framework, right, of what you agree to if you go on the ship.
Absolutely. And, you know, you're so right about the fact that that is the way it has to be, you know, because what we found, originally the Fairweather 1 was designed to be a training ship. it was designed, and here you have a vessel with twin diesels. It has an 80-foot mast, 3,000 feet of sail, accommodations for 20. And, you know, our plan was that so many people start building boats and they don't even know if they get seasick. And I got seasick. You know, I got seasick for a while. And if I go back out, 2 or 3 days of it, probably. But, you know, people need an opportunity and a means to be able to go on a boat, spend a week or a couple of weeks, you know, go on a shift, you know, like we call them watches. And, you know, you have a watch every 8 hours, maybe for 2, 3 hours, and you're out there with somebody, maybe you hardly even know them, and you get a chance and you bring your kids aboard. And if you're going to bring a cat or a dog, you better control it. You know, you better teach them how and where to, you know, do their duty, that kind of thing. But, you know, and there's problems. How do you cook? I mean, we were.
Guys, I can see the self-sufficiency. Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, we were cooking for 20 people.
Wow.
And of course, you know, as we talk about some of the other situations, as we get further into the video, we can talk about what some of the problems are. But, you know, overall, you work them out if you want to.
Yes, yes. So I termed you loosely a forerunner for unity consciousness. What words do you use to describe your mission?
My mission, and the mission I accepted at the briefing, was that I would come back to Earth, whatever this dimension, and I would attempt to use my skills to improve communication and to put out the information and the knowledge that I experienced. And it's not something that I just heard. I literally experienced those things. They were encapsulations of the reality of that manifesting so powerfully that to me it was real. I mean, it was real. So when I came back on my mission orders were get with it. And I went out and I took a course at a community television station and learned to use a camera and to edit. And then I continued until I had the ad agency there in Phoenix. And I have made films and written books. A lot of them are documentaries. Some of them have a mixture of truth and fiction. Because, you know, you really don't know how to address people. There's so many different ways. And if you come on real strong, you drive them away. So, you know, it's like a tightrope dance. But my mission is to change the conditions on planet Earth for the better.
Yeah.
Not just me, but to help pull together a team or join in a team out there. If there's already a team, you know, and if, you know, they have the goodness in their heart, and I don't mean in a religious sense, I just mean, you know, are we working for the same thing? Mm-hmm. And I would get behind that, you know. But my mission is to create the Safe Space Project. And I'm engaged in that. Sometimes I move a little faster, get more done, like the Fast Walker film, you know, type thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Such an honor to talk with you.
Oh, no, it's my honor. You guys See, you folks, what you're doing, and people like you, are spreading this new wave of consciousness. And you're opening up a vibratory rate that allows them to hit a whole new harmonic, because the human harmonic has the ability to go up and down on a scale. And when it goes up from, let's say, conservatism. You know, I'm a real conservative person. I don't want to get involved in this. I don't want to get involved in that. I'm perfectly happy. I got great family, great kids. Just leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got that harmony.
Mm-hmm.
About 3.1 on the positive scale. The minute you get up to 4, you hit enthusiasm. Oh, all of a sudden I come home and I'm enthusiastic. You know, hey, I'm a accomplished bowler now. I just bowled 250 or whatever. I'm not a bowler anymore, so I don't know. You know, and then if you get up to 8, +8, you're in action.
Yeah.
And the minute you get into action, your mind and your view and your life totally changes, and you become connected.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Robert, I think you're very motivating in that factor, because there is something about your essence that is just that we can feel that energy. And I think it has a huge motivating factor. I feel motivated listening to you because of all the things you've done, the places you've been. I can sit and listen for hours, to be quite honest. It's just amazing to me. You're an incredibly motivating individual yourself, and I think the others can agree. I think that's just an amazing quality that you have.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I thank you, but I think you're amazing. Look at what you've created in this virtual studio.
We're having fun. This is fun.
And Augie and Nori, you guys are what is amazing. Because I've met a lot of people. You know, I've met a lot of talkers. I've met some doers, you know, but Augie has really made an impact in my life. I read his book. That book is amazing. You know, it really, really is profound. And we did a DVD with Augie based on that book. And, you know, I'm honored to be your guest. And I'm honored to be a friend of his, and hopefully yours, you know.
Well,
and I'm honored to have a relationship with Leslie Nitz, a fantastic lady, you know, who gives her all. I mean, it's incredible. 1 + 1 is what, 4? Or 3?
At least 3. Yeah, at least 3. So living at a harmonic of 8. I mean, there's a lot of people who won't really get that, but the people in the consciousness community, in the light worker community, in the empathic communities, they will understand. And I don't even know what could be better than to be living like at the 8th harmonic, because that's where you are fully self-actualized. That's where you are being you full out every single moment of the day. And how does it get better than that? I mean, amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you hit 20, you have the ability to virtually materialize things in your existence and in the 3D dimensional reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we call city consciousness. That's when you have no use for the body except for only for communication with people around you. When you think something, it happens. When you want to create something, you just, like I saw Babaji was walking through a crowd in India, and there were all poor people sitting on the ground there, and he closed his fist and he opened up, and coins and diamonds and stones were falling out of it. He closed it again and he opened it, and it all fell out of his hand. He did it, I don't know, from the video, there was about 10, 15 times he did that. He gave those diamonds and coins to the poor people.
Mm.
And
Wonderful.
it just came out of his hand. That is Siddhi consciousness.
And but to achieve that consciousness, a lot of people want to achieve that consciousness. A lot of people want to achieve the consciousness of going from 3D to 5D, or to just be happy, 80% of their day. But there's that little trick that's been woven into us about emotion, and
well, that and separateness too. We've all been here in this little world believing we're supposed to be individuals and separate. And I see how your project, at first I wasn't quite getting it. I see how your project, these boat projects, are to bring people together, to drop this concept of individual, not totally individual, but to really kind of remove that and start to understand what oneness is about. And you're going to have to do that in a closed situation. I experienced that in the Navy, and a lot of other guys have too. How you have to interdepend on each other on the ocean or on a body of water, and that your systems are self-contained on these boats, and you have to learn that interdependency, and you can't just leave. You're going to have to learn to deal with these people. You can't just leave. You're going overboard if you're going to leave. So I see there's a lesson there. I think this is a larger lesson that may seem like crayons to people, but I think maybe that's what your friends were trying to impart, was that boat building process was going to be a lesson of getting rid of this individuality and I'm just going to do my own thing and learning to work together. And I see what you're saying with that. That's really
you're spot on. Thank you for sharing that. I want to mention that when I came back, part of what happened with me is I sat down and I wrote a manuscript called The Safe Space Story. And at first it was just, scribbling on a sheet of paper. And like Augie was talking about, I kind of got in the zone. And pretty soon the story began to materialize. And ultimately, I finished it and did that spiral binding thing. And I decided that it was going to be a motion picture. And I had this construct so strongly, and my energy was so intense that I met a woman who was an actress, and she read it and she said, I'd like to give this to a producer that I know. Can I do that? And I said, sure. Well, a week later, the producer called me. His name was Michael Gretzkoff, and he was a producer. He had just done Silent Running with Doug Trumbull, Bruce Dern, and those people. And he took it. I agreed. I sold him an option, and he took it to Columbia Pictures, and Peter Gerber, the head of Columbia Pictures, and us had a meeting, and Columbia green-lighted it for $3 million. And Star Wars was later done 4 years later for 1.7. So it had an incredible budget. It had Douglas Trumbull, who had done the effects for 2001, and as the director. And we went about trying to get a script done based on the story. And they hired Wallen Green, who had won an Academy Award. And the script went through 6 generations over a 2-year period. And unfortunately, the characters got changed all around, and my good guy became an assassin, and he was an ET. So, the story never flew, and Columbia dropped it after 2 years.
Wow.
And what that story did, though, it solidified. And then in 2003, I went ahead and rewrote it and put it out as a safe space book. And then later, I did a screenplay based on it when I really didn't know much about writing screenplays, So I have a screenplay copy of it. There's a few copies of that available. But anyway, the safe space story goes far beyond just the building of the boat. You know, it's a whole new way of life. And, you know, it's not an easy life to live. I certainly would struggle with it, you know. So I hope that answered your question, Nori, about what happened when I came back.
I think the safe space story had its origin in space. That's where you were first given the spark of life for it and thought. And then after their briefing, they were giving you probably some details in there, and then you worked on it when you got back to put it all together. Isn't kind of where it came from?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, it's a combination of what happened to me, set within a sci-fi genre, and it deals with a person called Regin Barsh, and it's got the Starship Tifa in there, which is a three-mile long spacecraft, and all kinds of stuff going on, you know. So I want to complete it. I still have a goal to make that movie. And, you know, the script that I've written for it is probably 5 or 6 years old, and I've got to have a new cut at the script, you know. But which brings up the fact that we're doing a lot of projects that involve film, the internet, all the new technology, and you can find a lot of those on Amazon. For Amazon Prime members, they're free. I think there's probably 10 up there now. There's a new one coming out with Michael Schraff, who's an amazing aerospace historian. And, you know, a couple a year go up there. But, you know, it's not just documentaries. We got 2 great pirate screenplays. We got a screenplay called Anne, Mary, and Calico Jack that is Anne Bonny and Mary Read. And it's totally different. It's a Hollywood creation. And we want to do that as well. So let's have fun.
Wow. Fun is a high vibrational activity, a high vibrational resonance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have one last question. Do you still have visitations, or is that something you're allowed to tell us? Or?
Well, I meet a lot of people that have visitations, you know, as you probably do. And visitations can take lots of forms. And I haven't been on the Tifa lately, which is a large spacecraft. There's some pictures on the website. Oh, it's my logo, a starship in what we call a token room, which is used for coming and going from fifth space into the third dimensional universe. I have downloads, certainly. I even think sometimes I have uploads.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
We all do.
Wow.
But, you know, down through the years, I've been called crazy so many times that I'm real careful about anything that's, you know, really proprietary in terms of my beingness, not my material things, but my beingness.
Yes.
And so I'm a little proprietary about that.
Okay.
Augie and I have gotten to know each other pretty well. Yeah. He's an amazing guy, and I'm excited about this new contact with the Alpha team. I think you guys are going somewhere.
Thank you.
Really do. Yeah, I really do.
Well, I would like to go on the Tifa. I'm just putting my seat request in right now.
You what?
I would like to go on the Tifa.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, All you got to do is imagine you're there and you are.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Robert. And I think we need a part 2 and a part 3 and maybe a part 4 of this interview. Is phenomenal. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we're barely even scratching the surface,
Yeah.
Robert. I really do. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to walk on you there. Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of areas within here that needs more explaining, and there's I've gotten to know you, so there's a lot of things that you did not get the chance to talk about today. So we should revisit this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, if you ever get a chance, take a look at the lady that materialized out of a not a starship, a scout craft. What's her name? Senora?
Sanjasa?
Yeah, you can edit this. You can edit this. But you might, the lady that materialized on my boat looked a lot like her,
Really?
and that's pretty amazing. But what I've noticed is that people's personas can change, and we're so into our bodies, and all that it's interesting to meet those other civilizations out there and communicate with them, because they're different. Now, some of them are the same, of course, but the expectation is got to be in the harmonic of love. And so with that, I say I love you all.
Love to you.
It's been just great. Yeah.
Hey, Robert,
Thank
just
you so
real
much.
quick for the tape, give us the websites and contact information, that kind of a block, if you would, about where people can find your information. Give it one more time. We'll add that into the end of this segment.
Okay, sounds good. If people are interested, I invite them to go on the internet, if they've got the internet, and go to timestreampictures.com. It's got a lot of pages and a lot of information. There's pages there for people that are interested in products. Part of the Safe Space thing is this Safe Space Team membership, which is free to join. You just have to kind of agree with the fact that the Earth could be a better place. And, there's a link there that you click on. And I'm going to be giving some discounts on some of the products and stuff, putting out update emails and those kind of things. But I've been really busy because we're doing a movie script right now. And so have a little patience. If you want to click on the, we call it an opt-in. I'm going to change that to subscribe now, because opt-in's kind of scary. But timestreampictures.com, and look up under the black bar at the top, and there's a bunch of drop-down windows, and there's all kinds of stuff up there.
I wanted to ask you, when you were on the ship, or when you went to your destination, from the time you met the lady in the stateroom until you went to the planet and came back, were there any sensation that they were spiritual people, or were they just nuts and bolts, facts? And did you have any feeling of compassion or anything of spiritual nature behind their conduct?
Well, that's a wonderful question, Augie. The feeling that I had was that these beings, although they appeared as human, they may not, they may have had a different appearance. And I've had a lot of people suggest, you know, that they can put on whatever skin they want. But it was incredibly emotional. And the impact of that was incredibly emotional on my life. And the sensation that I had was so intense that for 2 weeks, I felt like my feet weren't even touching the ground.
Wow.
I mean, I was higher than a kite. And I've talked to other people that have had similar experiences, though not the same. So absolutely, it was incredibly emotional, and the time duration, the dilation, that I was only gone a very, very short time, less than, close to 45 minutes. But yet it seemed like I was there for at least a whole day. I mean, we went to the ocean, we got the briefing, you know. So the time dilation aspect was incredible. And like now when I write, I sit down and I kind of put myself in a space, and all of a sudden I'm writing a pirate film. You know? And then we wrote the book on Lycandroids, which, I mean, you've read Lycandroids. It's an apocalyptic future thing with what we call a dogman type creature. And we're doing, you know, we've got a layout for that as a television series. But yeah, that download is constant.
Well, I think it's very likely that since you had that visitation, that vibration is embedded on you and stays with you, so you have a closer contact with what some people would call the Akashic records, or their information easier to come through to you.
Yeah, I'm certain. And all I can say is I'm sure glad it's not real yet.
Yeah.
Because you know, honestly, the counterbalance is so great to us succeeding. And there's lots of things we can do. Like, Augie, I don't think you even watch television, do you?
No, I don't have a channel. One in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love television. I love it.
I get my news on the internet.
I just want to thank you all and say I've really enjoyed this. This has been fun.
So it's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you as much.